welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new here. I'm Austen and I blog about fashion and beauty here in New York City. This is probably one of my most requested videos, the thing I get asked the most, etc, because we all just want to know how to have great photos to post on Instagram. And I think my photos aren't the best by any means. I'm not really a photographer. I really just know at this point what works for me and how I can edit photos to kind of look consistent on my grid, which is a big thing for me, and also just look clean and well lit and professionally done, even if they are not so professionally shot. What I wanted to do today is actually walk you through step by step how I edit 3 of the photos that are on my Instagram grid right now. I'll pop a picture of my grid in right here so you can see what it looks like, and I'll also link my Instagram account below if you'd like to go a little further back and check out the rest of my grid for yourself. So what I actually want to do is show you exactly on my phone how I edit these 3 photos, and what I'm going to do is screen record it for you all, but I will still be here talking you through step by step the apps that I use and kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So what I have on the screen right now is just my feed, and as you can see, I kind of prefer cooler toned photos. I really like when the lighting is great. I like a lot of close-up shots of my outfits, and a lot of my shots are full body outfit photos just because I've noticed that those kind of perform the best for me. So you can kind of get a sense of my style. It's usually a photo of me somewhere in New York wearing whatever I'm wearing that day. So that's kind of the general theme of my Instagram. So if you are a fashion and beauty blogger, definitely stay tuned, keep listening. So right now we are in my camera roll, and here are the 3 photos that I'm going to be editing. This one, which was taken inside the new Lively store in Soho. This one that was taken at Rose Mansion, which is this summer's kind of Instagram hotspot here in New York. And then this one, which was taken at the Williamsburg Waterfront Piers, which is my favorite spot in the city. And I love all of these photos, but just looking at them right now, I think you can tell they're, you know, the lighting isn't as good. This one in particular is very orangey, and I will show you how I tone that down. And then same thing as this one, I just want to like bring out the vibrancy of the pink rug and the background with the palm leaves. I think it's so cute, and there's definitely a way to make this look better. So let's head over to my little photo section. So the 2 apps that I use the most to edit photos are Faded and Visco. So let's go into Faded first and open that up. And basically I'm going to select this photo that was taken in the Lively store. Now the great thing about Faded, and I haven't seen this in any other app, is they have this function called Clean, which you can see right here, and I usually use this filter, which is Calistoga. I always want to call it Castiglione, like I'm trying to make it more than it is. But as you can see already, these are kind of like Lightroom presets in a sense, where they have different things that they do to a photo. So they tone it, they brighten it, they can do different things to the other way. But what I like about this one is that it seems to kind of add in some brightness and really enhance the colors all at once. So I won't ever turn this up all the way, maybe somewhere between like 30 and 50, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, those numbers, and then I will save it. And I do that before I do anything else because it kind of already helps what I need to do later on, but it definitely makes it much easier and I have much fewer edits to do going forward. So then from there, I almost always turn up the exposure. Right here, I'll turn up the contrast, and I will turn down the temperature because the lighting was making it feel a little warmer than I wanted it to. I'll go to saturation and bump it up a little. Like I said, I really wanted to bring out the pink rug and the palm leaves. And then I'm also going to sharpen a little bit just to make the photo feel a little bit more crisp and look more professional. So now I'm done with that, and I'll save it. And what I'll do is go into Visco and open it up. So I go to my library. Obviously I've edited this photo already, so you can see it's already in there, but for the sake of this video, let's pop it back in. So right now we've just gone through what I've done in Faded, and what I like to do now is add a filter to it. C1 is kind of my preferred filter of choice, but again, as you can see, that looks way too intense, way too saturated. So what I'll usually do is put it somewhere between like 3 and 4. I think that looks pretty good, and if I happen to notice in Visco that there's something I didn't do enough of in Faded, I'll usually just apply the same effect here. So I will bump up the exposure just a little bit. See, now that looks too intense to me, so I might actually want to reload the photo into Faded and fix the exposure that way. So that might sound crazy to go back again, but let's just do it so that you can see what it looks like. I did actually do this with the photo the first time around. So once I'm back in faded, I will just go back to the exposure and bump it up slightly, but I feel like it still makes a difference to me. And now that photo is done and ready for Instagram. Alright guys, so I just tried screen recording for you twice and it didn't work, so I'm trying this one more time. I hope I'm doing this correctly, but let's go into faded and grab the next photo that I want to edit, which is me at Rosé Mansion, New York City's like crazy rosé museum situation. So as you can see, this photo has a lot of orangey tones to it, which from looking at my grid wouldn't fit in at all, has nothing to do with my aesthetic. So I'm really going to be working to tone down some of those orangey shades. So I'll go in and apply Calistoga as I normally would, but I'm only going to apply it a little bit because what I really need to do before I do anything else is turn the temperature way down. So let's do that, and you'll already be able to see like what a huge difference that makes. It really eliminates all of those orangey tones and at least like makes them a little less intense. And from there I'll go in and do my normal edits with exposure. So I'll turn that up, I'll turn up the contrast a little bit, and none of these edits have to be major, and that's what's great about faded is you can really control how much of a setting you're applying to it. Again, with saturation, I don't want to do too much of it because I just spent a lot of time toning a lot of the colors in this photo down, so I don't want to be turning them back up. And I'll apply the sharpness again just a little bit. It's really important to make sure that you're applying these settings in kind of moderation because there's nothing worse than an overly edited photo. You can spot it from a mile away and it just does not look cute. Now I'm going to go into Visco and add the photo in here. And like I mentioned before, the filter that I usually use is C1, but let's see what happens when I apply it. To me, that just looks like too much contrast going on. I just toned up a lot of the orangey tones that I just spent all of that time reducing, and it just doesn't look like a photo that would go on my grid. So even if you have a go-to filter on Visco, don't be afraid to try some other ones, play around with stuff. E3 actually looks pretty good to me, but the filter I ended up using to edit this photo was actually A6, which is one of their analog ones. And again, you don't have to turn it up all the way. As you can see, a little bit will make a difference. And I'll set it to 3. And then I will go ahead and save it. And now that photo is ready for Instagram. Okay, and now it's time for the last photo, so let's open back up Faded, and I will show you how I edited this one of me at the Williamsburg waterfront. So this is, first of all, my favorite spot in New York City. I'm obsessed with it. I live in Williamsburg, so I love being able to go there and watch the skyline and see everything. It was very overcast on this day, which is usually a good thing for me because I prefer to shoot in shade. I feel like it saves me so much time when I go to edit down the line, but this photo definitely needs to be a little bit brighter and I want the colors to pop a little bit more. So as usual, I'm going to go in and apply Calistoga, which as you can see already makes a huge difference, but if you tone it up too much, the clouds in the background start to blend together and you lose a lot of the detail. So I feel like somewhere in the middle, probably around 40 is good, and then I can play up the individual settings to change how it looks. So as far as exposure, I will bump that up a little bit. Contrast, I feel like I should bump it up, yeah. And then as far as temperature, it's already very cool toned, so I really don't need to bump that temperature down that much. And what's going to help a lot, I think, is adding in some saturation, just because you can already see the buildings in the background start to pop a little bit more. And I'll go ahead and sharpen just a little bit so that you can really see all of the details of the skyline in the photo. Next, we'll go back into Visco, and I'll add in that photo. And from there, I'm going to head over to my usual filter, which again, as you can see now, actually is way too intense. Although E3 is looking pretty nice, and even though it has a bit of an orangey hint to it if you tone it up a lot, if I just find it somewhere in the sweet spot over here, I feel like that might be all that I need. And that already, to me, again, looks so much better than it did before. So I'll pop up before and afters on the screen now so you can see them. So remember in the first photo, it was all about kind of making the photo seem brighter and more vibrant because it was such a cool background and the lighting was just not favorable for it, but we were able to fix that a lot. It looked so much better. In the second photo, it was all about toning down those orangey tones. But hey, if your grid is all about the orange tone, I know we're all being influenced by Tezza right now and that vintagey look, definitely go for it and feel free to play it up. Just for me, it's not what I prefer on my grid, but as you can see, we were able to kind of make it a lot less noticeable and tone it down so much. And in the third photo of the skyline, we really were just able to add a little bit more color back in and a little bit more brightness because again, shooting in overcast is great because you don't have to deal with shadows, but the lighting sometimes doesn't make for the best photo. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Again, nothing like super groundbreaking or anything, just some really easy tips that you can apply to your own photos too. And most of these photos are taken on my Canon G7X or my iPhone, so you really don't need any fancy equipment to be taking photos, and it's really helpful also to know how to edit them in a way that you like and that looks good on your grid. If you have any questions that I didn't get to answer in the video, maybe about one of the apps I used or about my grid and my aesthetic, please leave them in the comments down below and I would be happy to answer them and get back to you. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber and part of my online community. I'm always trying to look for ways to help you guys out, so again, if you have any videos that you want to see from me in the future, feel free to let me know. And I will also link some really similar videos down below about blogging advice and career questions, all of that kind of stuff if you want to know more. Thank you again for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!